Welcome to the Liverpool 12th Man Show. I am the Liverpool 12th Man, just as well as you are, and you are here because we have the Razzies today. Yes, the football Razzies. It's our version of the Razzies, the movie Razzies, I guess. But I think everything deserves a little bit of a look and a laugh and a chuckle. And that's exactly what we're going to do today is look at the not so great moments from the year past. I am joined by the Irishman. How you doing?
I'm very good, apart from the fact that I'm stuck way up in the corner here, very hidden away.
Yeah.
But all
Well,
good, all good.
I will get that to be better. It should not be that far up. But oh, I know why. It's only because
You're doing the stuff. You got the other thing.
mhm.
Hi, Mary. Yeah,
Oh
first
man.
first day in ages with no football. First day
Well,
since
yeah.
you know. Well, I
I
know.
just
Is there Copa? Is there Copa tonight?
yeah. There
Oh,
is
there's
Copa.
Copa tonight. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Okay, so
yeah.
there is football.
There's big games today for Copa. In Copa, we have America's gonna be playing today. Um, big games happened yesterday too. Venezuela beat Mexico in what should have been and could have been a 1-1 draw, but Venezuela played very well. They actually uh, they were definitely the aggressor in that game, and they ended up pulling out the 1-0 victory. Very contentious. Like, oh, there were some spots in there that they were right. You thought people were gonna like start flinging, and yeah, it was definitely a there was a penalty. They scored on the penalty. Um, uh, Mexico had an opportunity to score on a penalty, but they didn't. Um, so yeah, it was a good game. And then also yesterday was Jamaica. Jamaica played against who did Jamaica play against? Let me go blank on who they played. Who did Jamaica play? Paraguay? They played Paraguay? No. They're in the same group as Venezuela and Mexico. So but they ended up like they that game should have won to it could have gone to penalties, but it didn't go to penalties. They played Ecuador. They played Ecuador yesterday, and Ecuador had a chance to. Ecuador was up 1-0, and then what happened was it was off a handball, and then they ended up. Antonio scored, was 1-1. Excuse me, and then they could have had another goal too, or could have had a penalty shot. I don't know how. It was shady because all the referees are from CONMEBOL, I think, that are refereeing these games since it is a CONMEBOL event technically. So no CONCACAF. I haven't seen a CONCACAF referee yet, and the referee's from Chile, and he definitely rooted. It was a cold, excuse me, handball, and he didn't call it. And Jamaica went on to lose. I think they ended up losing 3-1. They ended up losing 3-1. But it should have been. They should have had a chance to tie it up to 2-2 at least, but they didn't. And now we have Mexico going into this next game. It's going to be in Arizona too. Mexico is going into this next game against Ecuador, having to win to make it to the next round. And same with Ecuador. So this next game is very, very important for Mexico and Ecuador. Very, very important.
Hi,
And
hi.
good.
No, I was just saying hi to Bernie.
Oh, I was saying hi. I guess I said maybe say something. Yeah, today is Uruguay versus Bolivia, and the Americans play too today. The Americans play too. So we will be taking on Panama, who is not a. Panama held tight with Uruguay for a good measure of the game when they fought against Uruguay. It wasn't until the end that Uruguay really put it into second gear. But yeah, big game. We have to keep pace. We have to win today against Panama, and Panama always plays us tough. Panama always plays us tough. So
Will a draw do or?
yeah, a draw wouldn't be bad, but a draw wouldn't be bad. We're both on us and Uruguay. Americans and Uruguay are both on 3 points. Panama's on nil, and Bolivia's on nil points too. But if we got a draw, it wouldn't be bad because it's most likely that we would end up going to the second round. But
Well, as I know you are a massive Greg Berhalter fan, I'm sure you have nothing but confidence in
nothing
your
but confidence
in your
against
yeah, because
Panama. Sure.
you got them Greg Berhalter pajamas, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, nothing like confidence. Nothing like confidence. It is fitting that the ladies show up to an awards festival. It's big up to Marion, big up to Bernie. You know, I like it. I like it a lot because it's a star-studded event. So we got to have our Reds Queens that show up to the beautiful for the beautiful people. But
Yeah, champagne reception.
yes, champagne reception. It is that it is. Um, yeah. So we also have. Did you want to do the Euro fantasy update right now, or
I will
do
leave
you
it till
want to
later.
do
See
do it
see if
later?
see if some of the people that are in it are in. JK or Daryl are in or bonkers.
Yeah. That's true. That's a very good point. Very good point. Um, but yes, so we do have some football. That's later on. That'd be at I want to say 10 o'clock your time in the UK, and 1 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and 1 o'clock. The USA game's at it's at the USA game is actually USA game's at 3, and the USA game's at 3, and the Uruguay game's at 6 here. So that's I think 10 o'clock and 1 o'clock your time, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So
yeah,
yeah, the US that might be a doable one, but I'm sure Panama, like we're talking about the some teams the other end, they do have a good team every now and again. But yeah, I'm sure we can catch up on that again. So
every
yeah, we'll
once in a
get
while. Yeah.
the awards going. Get the awards, the what the ones they've all been waiting for.
Yeah.
And I've had a look through.
Yes, let's do it.
Liverpool fans,
Let's do it.
Liverpool players don't escape, unfortunately, from what I can see.
Yeah. They don't escape they don't escape.
Scot
There's
free.
some strays that definitely get targeted. Um let's begin then, because this is what everyone's been waiting for. It is the Razzies, the Premier League Razzies.
There, what the trophy they all want.
The trophy they all want, and possibly least as desirable, but they all would like to see what ends up happening. Uh, oh, I know. They are. You got the big carrots, the big carrots. We got Bernie. Oh, so let's begin. So we were gonna do the first. It's we're gonna do the first category. Excuse me. And let's be honest, like it is. It's been it was an interesting year to say the least. There was a lot of things that went down in the Premier League this year. Liverpool, like us, we had our 12:30 kickoffs that were obviously things that we complained about. Um, you had Manchester City, you had Villa, um, that were always they were on cloud nine, but with us we had our 12:30 kickoffs to deal with. We had the Wolves had to deal with. Um, the Wolves had to deal with VAR. Obviously, they brought VAR up to ask it to be taken away. They had a vote this year to get it taken away, but it ended up making it through. Um, then you also had Forest that was mad about their PSR points deductions. You had Everton this year mad about their point deductions. Twice. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sheffield United looked like they were playing in the championship, but
Not really sure what they had in mind when they showed up. I mean,
yeah,
I had a sneaky suspicion, more just to kind of because the narrative was so kind of it was so lazy and it was so kind of unimaginative that Luton were obviously going to be like bottom with like 2 points and minus 100 goals, and they were going to be getting bet 4-5-0 every single week. And I just looked at that Luton team. I looked at like the players and team spirit they had. And I had them to go down, but to only be the third last team to go down. I thought they were
right,
going to finish
right.
17th, like or 18th. I didn't think they were going to be. I thought like the two other teams were actually worse, especially what Burnley were going to do. It,
Right,
they basically
right.
said
I
they were going to
understand.
play attacking. Yeah, they were going to play attacking football, and they were going to do what they did in the championship. And it was like, okay, well, you're going to get destroyed. Like they're the team that's going to get bet 4 and 5 every
Right,
week because he's going to
right.
be brave in inverted commas. And I was saying at the start of the season, anyone that remembers, I said he is doing what he's doing for his career. He's not doing it for Burnley. He is playing football to say, look how I play football. This and all the while Burnley are disappearing through the trapdoor because he
Mm-hmm.
won't abandon his so-called principles, which
Mm-hmm.
are which I said are intended to get him a job at an Arsenal or a Man City or so, like in a future down the line.
Mm-hmm.
But football being as absolutely insane as it is, he goes and he does that. They get relegated, and he immediately gets the Bayern Munich job. Like
Yeah.
it's, I don't know, like it's just completely like he was. I just said what he's doing is basically negligent. He's playing for his own future, not Burnley's.
Oh
And I
yeah.
thought like
Yeah.
Luton
Absolutely.
came so close. Like if you know maybe they gotten maybe one of those other teams had gotten an extra 3 points deducted or something. But Luton came. They were out of the relegation zone at one point, not that long ago. They slipped back into it, but I thought they were Luton were absolutely top quality. I thought the fans maybe not so much, but the team, yeah, I thought people were writing them off so early and so kind of really in a pathetic way where they're laughing at their ground and taking the piss out of their stadium like you've never
Right.
heard of Luton before. I just
Right.
thought it was a bit crass and a bit short sighted, and I thought they were good value for it had they stayed up. If they
Yeah.
had, Barkley had a great season, Doughty had a great season. They had great team, like probably some of the best team spirit out there. They went to Newcastle and scored 4 goals.
Right. Right.
They
Yeah.
were a proper team, proper little team. Look at the problems. What did we had to fight till the 80th minute to get a 1-0 against them or whatever it was,
Yeah.
or
And
1-1
that's
or
why.
whatever. Diaz header, like.
Yeah, we got a header from a player that wasn't even expected to play. He said, and that was like during
They're
for the
a tough time.
circumstances. Yeah,
Yeah, they are a tough side.
I
They
made
were a
that point too.
really
Like,
tough side.
yeah, I made that point too a couple of times. They were a tough team, despite the fact that you know their record didn't necessarily show it. But they were. I was expecting some good things from them, and yeah, didn't necessarily get it, but all the same, um, they were a tough team. So yeah, there's a bunch of different things that definitely went down for the league. Basically, I mean, there was a lot of different scenarios for a lot of different teams that had their own personal gripes to like call out the league over, to say the least. They definitely had some things that were going on in the lives of some of the fans, some of the players, some of the coaches. But
Never a
we're an
dull
equal
day.
opportunity. What's that?
Never a dull day in the Premier League.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. Definitely not. So and we're an equal opportunity. So we ended up allowing for everyone to get a little piece of what we have to offer today. Um, because yeah, it's a weird state. I mean, there's going to be next year. They're going to be I think it's horrible, but they're going to be scrapping the FA Cup replays, for instance, and they're going to be doing things that just make you scratch your head and say, why? It's fine the way it is. But we're still going to see them take away some of the things that we do love about this game. But
When people get
let's,
paid to come up with new ideas, they
yeah,
want
yeah. And sometimes the new ideas aren't exactly the best ideas, to say the least.
trying to reinvent the wheel sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah. So we have to. So let's get on to our first category then, I guess. Um, I think the best way to start off would have been basically to do the person that just wasn't really ever in the game. And that is the most minutes played without touching the ball. Who played the most
Yeesh.
minutes played without touching the ball? You have to go, you have to really do a you have to really do well to basically go the entire game or go the game and not touch the ball. That's talent. That's some real talent. And there is I do have a fun. I know that everyone loves trivia, but do you know? Can you name the only player to go 90 minutes without touching the ball? Actually, there is one.
Well,
There's technically two players, I think, but there's one that I know for sure. I'll accept either. He played for the Kaiser Chiefs too, by the way. The Kaiser Chiefs. And it's going to go crazy.
I can't remember his name. Colombian guy.
Yeah.
Um,
Or no, oh no, I don't know if he's Colombian actually.
oh well, he's South America. Oh, they made a bloody documentary, but I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
know the guy, but I just because he had one of those kind of nickname type. I can't remember it. I keep on saying Rainier, but I know it's not Rainier. I know who the guy is, but I just
Mhm.
yeah can't remember his name.
Just can't remember his name. Okay.
Yeah.
No worries. I figured I'd give started off with like a good funny question or good funny trivia. It's the only trivia I think I have for the entire thing, so I figure I'd just get that out of the way. It was Thomas Swazwe,
Oh, that's
SWE.
I'm thinking
Played 90 minutes without touching the ball. He played 90 minutes in the Kaiser Chief game and never touched the ball. That is pure talent. I guess this individual in the Premier League, and this is all about the Premier League. It's not about any particular team in general. Yeah, yeah. The band Kaiser Chiefs. That'd be even better. By the way, Bernie.
Oh,
Um,
this suck. Oh, they're
yeah.
so bad.
But in this one, um, we actually did have a player that did play this year without touching the ball. I don't think it was a full 90, to be honest with you. And he came in. He came in the 96th minute and didn't touch the ball. That's understandable. 96th minute. That's a little harsh. You know, that'd be harsh to kind of like hold him accountable for that. But hey, no worries. This guy then got subbed into another game and proceeded to not touch the ball in the 94th minute. He came in the 94th minute. You're like, oh, okay. That's still being harsh, correct? You know, it's like that's still being harsh. But then he finally got subbed in. This player plays for Aston Villa, and Villa was losing 5-0 at Crystal Palace. He got subbed in at the 87th minute. You're figuring this is his day. This is his day. Plenty of time, some extra time for the injury minutes to go. He went on to play for 12 minutes, 51 seconds, and still never touched the ball. That lucky man is Kane Kessler Hayden. Well done, young man. Well done. That is our first winner of the football Razzies. Is Kane Kessler Hayden. Did you see any? Did you watch any of Villa games this year, Brian? Other than obviously that we played.
What position does he play in?
He plays right wing back.
Jesus, doing like.
Right wing back.
I mean, we also need context. Like, say, if he came in the 94th minute and it was the game went on for 102 minutes or went on for 95 minutes, but even if it was a short enough game, coming on 87, like if he blew up on and you can see how it happens in one game.
You would hope how it would happen. I know.
But I mean, yeah, like how that's just. I don't think
it's a head scratcher. Like, how could you not touch the ball?
Well, I can see how you might not touch the ball for 3 minutes in a game. Just phases of play that are weird and it doesn't come in your area and it's an end of game or whatever. I can see for a couple of minutes maybe how it might happen. But for like it must be bizarre to like go on the pitch and not touch the ball and then walk off the pitch. It must be very, very strange.
Yeah.
I mean, like I've gotten subbed on in kids' games when I was young, you know, but it took me about 5 minutes before I did touch the ball because you know kids' games are mental. But that's it's good going. Like if I was thinking like maybe he was I don't know,
in
like
a 5-0 game.
I don't know.
It's 5-0. Obviously, you're not on the front foot in that game. I mean, you're probably defending. He is a defender, and he didn't touch the ball once. That's impressive. That is impressive.
Maybe he's just so good. Nobody wants to go near him. The opposition, so they keep everything down the left.
Yeah.
Oh no, Marianne, you should know. I'd never heard of the guy either. You're not on your own. I'd never heard of him. Yeah. Never ever. No. But he does have the classic modern English
hyphenated name.
Well, double barrel surname, yeah. So which is a critique on modern society, if you wanted to go down that. But no, they all gotta have one.
Well, I did say I didn't have a trivia, but I guess this one could be a trivia question too, because we have our second category coming up. Our second category, and that is basically it is a team category. This is for a team, and it was for most points dropped from winning positions. Most points dropped from winning positions. No one likes to be in that moment where you're saying, "Oh, we should be able to pull this game out. We should win this game. We should be able to get across the line. We got this. We got this," and then end up dropping points. That hurts. It hurts quite a bit. Actually, two teams this year did not lose from winning positions. Did not lose any points from winning positions. Do you want to take a crack at that? I know I said I only have one trivia question,
Yeah,
but I
no,
guess
we can keep going on that. Yeah, we'll think it. Liverpool and Man City.
boom from the 3-point line, bang. Yes, that's correct. But this team, different
Like we
story.
went behind all the time. Like that was
Yeah,
like we went behind all the time. But
yeah,
then we
yeah,
were kind of probably winning games so late most of the
yeah.
time
We
that
were
it
the
was
ones
just
that helped
we were breaking
build
hearts.
build some of the stats for some of these teams.
Oh yeah, we were breaking hearts all over the place. We were giving them
Exactly.
hope,
We were some of the
giving them a
ones that
hope. Yeah,
helped some of these teams perform.
just give
Oh
Wolves a
man,
goal there, make them think that they can do something for half an hour.
right,
Let them
right.
get their hopes up.
These teams are the teams that possibly these are the candidates because I do have candidates. These are the candidates for most points dropped from winning position. We have Burnley, Spurs, Bournemouth, or Brentford. These are the candidates for most points dropped. Do you have a guess on who you probably think would be the candidate or be the likely winner on this one?
Uh, on that, it's either Burnley or Brentford, I'd say, and I'd guess Brentford.
Well, let's go to the card. Let's go to the card here. It says you are correct. It is Brentford. Brentford was pitiful by holding the leads. Look,
Terrible
they
team.
did their best, but their best was just wasn't good enough. Burnley had 27 points dropped, 16 leads, 5 wins, 6 draws, 5 defeats. Bournemouth, again, 24 leads. Bournemouth had 24 leads, 13 wins, 6 draws, 5 defeats for 27 points. Burnley and Bournemouth both had the same. Spurs did their best to try to keep up. They had 28 leads.
Ange
They
Ball.
were in the lead 28 times. Spurs were in the lead 28 times and ended up only getting 20 points out of it with 20 wins, 4 draws, 4 defeats. Excuse me. But again, the all-time loser was Brentford this year.
Yeah,
Brentford
they had
had
an awful season.
awful. They dropped 30 points. They dropped 30
Mm.
points from winning positions this season.
They had a habit of going 1-0 up in games. Well,
Mm-hmm.
obviously they had that, but I mean, yeah, that sounds obvious there. But they had a habit of kind of getting an early goal or getting the first goal. It's not like they were dropping points from 2-1 or 3-1. They really, really sucked at scoring goals. Obviously, they lost Tony, but they were like very, very slowly plummeting down the league as it was going on. Like they were down in
Mm-hmm.
17th nearly at one point. Like from where they'd been the previous season,
Mm-hmm.
like it shows like maybe a more reactionary club without the body of work that he had to fall back on. Thomas Frank would have been sacked. It just shows you that he was still been linked with the Liverpool job, even while all that was happening. Um, People were kind of basing it on the previous season. I
Mm-hmm.
knew, like, that's why I guessed them. I knew, but I didn't think Burnley. But I was shocked at how many times, because I immediately said, well, Bournemouth didn't take the lead enough times so I
Right.
immediately
Right.
counted them out. But I did think like they had like that guy has come in. He's I'm not gonna like I'm not look nobody knows, but if he's managing Iraola, I'm talking about. If he's managing Real Madrid in 5 years or Barcelona, I'm not surprised. This guy's a really good coach. Now maybe it goes well for him and he ends up at one of those clubs, or it doesn't. But I think you can see there was a lot of bad feeling maybe when they sacked Gary O'Neill after he did such a great job keeping him up.
Yeah.
You know, but
Yeah.
it shows that they had the right, and it was Richard Hughes that did that deal to bring him this Iraola guy to Bournemouth, and it was a bit shaky at the start, but you can see from that, like that is a kind of a bad stat. Like say for a team like Tottenham, that's a really bad stat, but
Mhm.
for a team like Bournemouth, it's a really encouraging one. You know that they could do that. You know, it doesn't take much
That
to
they could
build.
even take a lead. Is that what you're
Yeah,
basically saying?
no to do it 28 times.
Oh
No,
yeah.
well, look here. I'm talking about the statistics you're putting up here. Like to do
Yeah.
that 28 times,
Yeah.
like that's a big deal. I think for a
No,
team like
28
Bournemouth,
leads is a big deal. Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
agree.
to go ahead 28 times and to be able to do that shows that there's a proper team there. Like
Yeah.
a team like a Tottenham doing it and throwing it away is damning on them to me. Whereas
Oh
when I look
yeah.
at like
Yeah. That's why I was sure to put them into
yeah, like
yeah.
to me it shows progress at Bournemouth because they wouldn't have been like you just have to turn a few more of them into wins.
But that's the
You don't have to
thing.
win them all,
That's
but
the
they can.
thing is that Brentford. So if Brentford had won the games that they dropped points from, they would be in Champions League.
Yeah, but you
Think
can't
that
win them
they
all. You
would
can't win
be
them.
in the Champions League if
Yeah,
they held on to the leads they had. They would have had more points than
yeah,
Villa this year.
yeah. But things happen. Like they can go 1-0 up 5 minutes in and against a big team, and against
Yeah,
City or something. So I can give them half the points.
yeah. I don't think they're
I
up against City, but yeah,
like
because
nobody. No, I know, but I'm saying like any team, like you can lose a lead by going 1-0 up against a big team and then losing that game. I'd say if they went ahead in 30 games, you said,
yeah.
well, then I guarantee you one of them was against us,
Well, not 30
Chelsea.
games. They dropped 30 points. They dropped 30 points from winning positions. So
Yeah, so they would have been scoring. They would have been up. It's like so. Some of me say, okay, look, they went
that's
one
probably
nil
like
up
what
in a
10
game
games or
against
something like that.
yeah
10
a big
games.
team. So um,
One third the season, basically, almost like one third the
yeah,
season, or one fourth the season, actually, one quarter of the season.
teams like Chelsea, Tottenham, that's why they're down where they are because they can go up and get, but they can't manage games. They can't hold out. So like but if you're going like if you've been 2-0, if you're 2-0 up and 75 minutes gone, and you're up losing that game, like that's bad.
Only
Yeah,
four teams in Premier League history have dropped more points after taking the lead in a season, with Brentford's 2023-24 the worst performance in this regard in 16 years. Only
and I tell you,
Tottenham,
and
only
the manager,
Spurs have dropped more points in 2007, 2008 with 33 points. That's the last time there's
and the,
been more points than what Brentford's done. Well done,
and the
Brentford.
manager under no
Enjoy your
pressure.
trophy. Enjoy your
He's under no
trophy.
pressure.
Um, this next one is the worst record compared to XG. So basically, it is taking your XG and then put it against the actual like your conversion comparison and such. Okay, and how much you score and the likes. The category is going to include some players that unfortunately include our team. So this category includes in the candidates Nicholas Jackson, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Darwin Nunez, Brennan Johnson, all competing for the world's record, the worst record, I should say, compared to XG. And our winner, I don't know if you're gonna do a drum roll or not. Because I know that I know probably some people are hoping that it's not Darwin Nunez, as I am. And you'll be happy to know that Darwin just missed out on winning this one. I know Richard said Darwin Nunez. It is not Darwin Nunez. I wouldn't do my boy dirty like that.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
He's not out of the woods yet.
Right. Um, the loser is the loser is. Let me pull this up. I'm sorry. I got to show you the candidates. The loser is Calvert Lewin. Dominic Calvert Lewin, excuse me. Everton was pretty bad this year. Pretty bad. I know people would then push back and say, oh, yeah, I know there's no bias. Hey, I told you, Darwin did not miss out by much. Look, Calvert Lewin this year was the worst culprit when it came to this category. He scored just 7 goals from 12.9 xG. Okay, and what that means is his underperformance compared to his xG of minus 5.9. That's the biggest negative differential in the entire league. The entire league. Calvert Lewin was injured portions of the season. So was Darwin. So was, but I mean, like you can say what it is, but look, Brennan Johnson had a negative 5.3. That means he had an expected goal of 10.3 and only scored 5 goals. Nicholas Jackson had a negative of minus 4.6. He had an expected goal tally of 18.6, and he netted 14 goals. Darwin Nunez had a negative 5.3. He was tied with Brennan Johnson, but at least he had a 16.3 xG, and he only got 11 goals. So that's why Calvert Lewin gets to hold on to this trophy by himself with his negative 5.9. I think that it's one of those close but no cigar situations for Darwin. I know some were out there pushing to see his name come up. It's all good. This is not the award we want to see him winning at any time whatsoever. So it is what it is. It is what it is. Well done, Calvert Lewin. Well done to our Everton friend, if you want to call it that. This next award is a that's true. That's true, Richard. If Darwin doesn't score, if he doesn't score goals and doesn't improve, what happens to him? He gets moved on. You figure out a new place. Like as in, I don't think that I don't think they'll immediately move on from him, but they'll look to see if they can move him on. And if they can't, they'll keep him as he'll go from being the number 1 choice to being the number 2 choice. He's not a bad player to have on the bench, despite what people might think. He could be on the bench, much less start, I think, for our team. But again,
been on the bench a lot.
Yeah. I mean, he scored some great goals off the bench for us.
Yeah, but we didn't buy Darwin to sit on the bench, so
I didn't. Yes, that's true.
No,
but I mean, sometimes you find the bench finds you. Yeah.
Well, the door. If you spend 65 minutes on a striker, and he's not able to do it, then more often than not, I think you'll find the door is where they find, not the bench. So if it doesn't work, the whole thing about that's look. Name me a player that's been bought that underperforms and stays. They get moved on at his level. He'll have
Jack
options.
Grealish, I don't know. Grealish underperformed for what they spent for him. I'd say that's underperformance. The Chelsea guy,
No. I no for us. We
Anthony.
don't. No,
Anthony's
for us.
underperformed.
No, dude. Look, you're going to list bad players, right? I'm talking about for us. We don't have that kind of money to spend on people and go, oh, it didn't quite work out. Let's sit on it. What I'm saying is, if it doesn't work, we're not going to keep him as a sub. We'll just, like you said, we'll find a new place for him, and we'll get big money for him, and then we'll probably buy another striker. But that's not what people are talking. Everybody's talking about now how he gets to play in the new slot system.
Mm-hmm.
So play him in the new slot system, but that will be 3 seasons. So if it doesn't work after season 3, then okay. If people still want to hang on to him, fine. But yeah, he'll whole
To each
new.
their own. To each their own. This is an award show. To each their own. This is I'm not evaluating. Everyone to each their own. If you want to get rid of him.
No, I just say okay. After 3 years, and he was still. Would you say, oh no, it's fine?
After 3 years, if I'm not getting 20 goals out of him or something like that in the Prem.
No, just if he's had 3 years. So if he plays another year on the slot, and it's still like he's still doing 10 or 11.
If he gives me, if year 3 he does what he did in year 3. If he does the same type of
everybody, if he plays like he does the
same type of progression that he's done from year 1 to year 2 for year 3, yes, I still keep him, because that would mean that he's probably getting 40 to 50 GA. And that would mean one, he obviously would have included, there would have either been a massive increase in his assists, or it would have been, again, a somewhat increase in his goals. So if he does, because he didn't have 30 plus GA in his first year. He did decent, but it wasn't great. Wasn't the greatest, display of GA ever in his first year. But there was a considerable increase in his second year. If he shows the same increase from year 1 to year 2 in year 3, yes, I will keep him as a player on this team. Whether it's as a starter or not, that's neither here nor there for me. Because I mean, like, that's like, is Diego a starter? He is.
No, I'm only it's
Darwin. He starts. He doesn't start. Sometimes he starts. He doesn't start. I don't mind.
Keep it on. Yeah, I just think it's very strange, very very strange.
I know unfortunately he's always got the expectations are definitely laid on him for the money that he is was spent.
No, if he could turn that Uruguay, if he could play for us like he plays for Uruguay next season, I don't think you'd be talking about a progression like year on year. You'd be talking about a huge jump up in what, like, he doesn't play for us the way he plays for Uruguay. He doesn't do that. So if he was to suddenly start playing for us next season the way he plays for Uruguay now, then I'd be expecting him to double his numbers for us. That's the player that's the player I think he should be, is basically a guy in the league that's, he's going like 18 goals pretty much. That's what he should be looking at as a kind of a good season. If he plays every week, obviously, in a strong team. If he plays for us the way he plays for Uruguay, but if he goes up and he does, and next season he's in some games, he's out the next, he's in another game, he's out the next, plays a few games, scores 10 goals. At the end of that season, I'd just go, okay, look, let's just change it up and try something different. Let him go and try something else. But I'd like to see him play for us. Like, there's someone doing a big article today, like, about Bielsa plays a very, very similar system to the way that Arne Slot plays, and Darwin Núñez is thriving in that system. So that I'm saying, okay, well, so cool. Get him up front as a spirit, as the number 9, with more people in behind him, and play the way he plays for Uruguay, if that gets the best out of him, we also have a coach that's doing that, and just start him every week. But we have a lot of players. We have Gakpo, we have Diaz, we have Salah, we have other people. So, but like everyone keeps talking. Oh, watch him for Uruguay. Watch him for Uruguay. Well, cool. Let's see him do that for us. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that's also because it's if a player plays a different system, and and he has also different components around him that help provide that the fluidity of that system, you end up getting different results.
That's what I'm
But
saying. These people are saying that Slot plays the same system Bielsa plays,
okay,
basically at the moment. That's what I'm saying. That whole write up today was this guy did a big write up saying Bielsa and Slot did play in a very similar system and how it gets the best out of Nunez. And he was talking it's in the Guardian or something. I can't remember where it was, but this could be pivotal for Liverpool and Nunez next season. And he was describing how it would work out, and I'm like, this sounds great. Do that because everyone keeps telling me he plays great for Uruguay. So if we can play a similar system like you were saying to what they do, and we have probably, I'd imagine, just as good, if not better, players than Uruguay in the places around him. If he thrives in that kind of system, then hopefully next season, you're going to see him being the guy that he can score 20 easy. I think not easy. It's not he scored 20, but I think he could and should score 20 in the Premier League for us if he's in form. Like the guy can score goals. So this one of the things with Slot, like that. I mean, it is a bit of a piss take, but you don't get the numbers that he's putting up there for the missed shots and all that. That just shows you the positions he's getting in. The guy's constantly in positions to be scoring goals. Like Haaland's XG is shit. Like his comparison for his XG, like that's not brilliant. He's not like at 90%. Like Haaland isn't some robot that are like Haaland and Darwin aren't that far off when it comes to like the amount of chances they miss. So
no, they're not. They're not.
Yeah.
He bags a lot, obviously, but they're not. They're absolutely not. If you're going to be a top scorer, your chances are you're going to be You're going to be also
you're gonna miss a lot.
top misser.
Yeah.
So,
you're taking shots, so you're missing.
yeah.
Them.
I mean, like
It's
the thing about it is, if you look at Mo Salah is an amazing scorer, absolutely amazing scorer. He bags crazy, crazy goals, right? But every year that he's been at the top of the golden boot race and the likes, he's also had the most misses from big chances in the majority of those seasons. His name is like if you look at the top list, like Kane was on that list when he was in the league. Obviously, you just mentioned Haaland. Salah's on that list, and there are some notable names on that list that have a lot of misses. It just so happens that they have a lot of makes as well. I hook that he can put it together. I think that it's much like being a striker or much like being a goalie. It can be very similar with being a striker in that it's about confidence and it's about focus and confidence. Once your confidence is there and your focus is there, you can. It feels like you can't miss or you can't. There's nothing you can't stop as a goalkeeper, But if that confidence goes, whole different story. Well, I wanted to, before we get too deep or any deeper, I should say, in the Darwin. Is Darwin good enough? I want to get into this next category, and this next category is something that maybe we can all agree on. This is called the My Club is a Hot Mess Award. And fortunately, it was not our club that is in this sole category. There's a couple of teams that could have been in this category. Let's keep it 100. Manchester United was a hot mess this year. They definitely were. They're definitely a category. They were a hot mess. I think that I truthfully think that Obviously, Sheffield United was a hot mess, but I think Everton were a hot mess this year. Everton were a hot mess. I know people could be like, "Oh, well, they didn't. They got out of relegation. They shouldn't have been in relegation." And on top of that, what I mean by hot mess, the fact that they had their books looked at first time. Cool. You got a failing grade. Take your homework home, make your books right, get them straight, and do it correctly. They thought about it, said, you know what? No, we're gonna submit the same homework, basically. And they got more points taken away from them. I don't know how you could have a year where you get points taken away from you twice in the year. I think Chelsea was a nominee in this, and so was Forest. So those are the 4 nominees I put for. Team is a hot dumpster fire or a hot bin mess, as you guys call it over there in the UK. Out of these 4 teams, I'm sure there's probably a team that you would probably say is your choice to say who you would go for in this. And I would say, is there a team that you would have you think should be more deserving of this? Who's your team that you think is the most deserving of this award? Before I bring out the winner, is there one that you have, Brian? Out of these 4,
Out of those, well, I probably would have to be Chelsea, but I wouldn't put any of those 4 as my number one. But
why? Who are your choices?
Burnley.
Oh, any of the yeah. If you were to see what we'll see. I'll say why I wouldn't have chosen Burnley, but I can understand that. I can understand
Well,
why.
my reasoning would be that Burnley spent their net spend was in the top 8 in the Premier League, top 7,
Mm-hmm.
top 8.
Mm-hmm.
Spent well over 100 million. I know they had to replace players and bring players in, but they did that with no issues, with a team that got 101 points in the championship, got
Mm-hmm.
close to 100 goals in the championship,
Mm-hmm.
and they still managed to get relegated in a season where Nottingham Forest and Everton, like you just pointed out,
Right.
who both
At
finished
point
around it,
seven.
had points deductions.
Right.
So I think Burnley and what happened there with Vinny Company was, yeah, a total dumpster fire, whatever. Um, yeah, that to me was because no one really had like, because I'm kind of used to Man United and Everton just being complete, or Man United and Chelsea just being total jokes at the moment.
Oh, so you're
That's
like
almost
desensitized to
normal.
it. You're
Yeah, it's almost
desensitized.
normal. Yeah, exactly. Like if Chelsea were like normal Chelsea, and then they had a season like they did this year, which they
Yeah.
kind of ended up finishing strong, but they're what, like 12th and 13th or 11th and 12th for ages. But to me, it's yeah, well, that's typical Chelsea these days, typical Man United. So, but out of them, it would still be it would still be Chelsea, yeah,
Well,
because
that's good.
the
That's
amount
good.
the amount that they put in out those for the amount of money
Exactly.
they spent,
Exactly.
they did kind of pull it around. But then, yeah, actually, no, it is Chelsea. Sorry, it is. If you'd asked me a few weeks ago, I would have been saying no. I hate them, and I don't want to say anything. Like I despise them, but I can be objective. So they pulled it around at the end of the season. They nearly like if they finished 6th or 7th or something like that. I
Mm,
would have been okay. Look, that's they got all these boys, yada yada yada.
right.
But then they go and sack Pochettino. So it's like, oh well, okay, no. Okay, well, what was the point of the good, strong finish to the end of the season? Any goodwill from that is now burnt, and you've hired the ex freaking coach from Man City who had one season in the championship at Leicester. Yeah,
Mhm.
total. Yeah, it was someone like somebody put the fire out, and Todd Bowley went back and just threw more petrol on it and got it going again. That was they seem to be going in the right direction. So typical Chelsea, what did sack the manager after what 8-9 months?
Well, you would be good to say that because the card that I just opened up reads Chelsea is that team. Whoops. Chelsea is that team. Look, they spent close to $1.1 billion. Okay,
And they're
since the
buying
beginning of
more.
last season.
They're buying again today.
Yeah,
They're buying the kid from
that's
Barcelona. They're buying the freaking centre half, even though they already have 100 centre halves.
yeah. And I get it. I get it. Burnley, I know that looks like Bernie's on board with you with Burnley. And I can understand Burnley being the case, but Burnley, new team to the league,
Well,
and
they're not really though. It's very, very recently. Burnley had been in the league for 10 years, so they're not.
well,
But it's
okay,
just a
well,
personal thing. It's not
okay,
they're not a loon. But just for me,
all right,
I don't want to
okay,
go down that road. I don't want to because
okay,
it's just
okay. Well,
my.
then the next category
I'm not
will
going
will,
to
will
argue
give
it
you
really.
more, will bring more clarity to that. But when you look at it, Burnley didn't, even with the money that Burnley spent, they didn't
No,
spend $1.1
but
billion since last
but
season. They didn't bring
yeah,
in Nkuku, who I understand was hurt. They didn't bring in Lavia, who I understand was hurt. They didn't bring in Robert Sanchez. They didn't, they didn't. They sold They sold Pulisic. They sold Loftus-Cheek, who are doing decent in Serie A. They sold
yeah.
Kai Havertz, who looked like a dumpster fire in itself with Chelsea. But now all of a sudden with Arsenal, Kai Havertz looks freaking good. He looks like a viable player. Like, that's sad. Okay.
But
It's
I
like
I
it's
agree
like
with you. But
it's where I'm gonna land. I'm gonna land.
yeah,
Um, but it's where they spent £50 million, albeit on a player that I would have liked to have as a Liverpool Red. It's a youngster, 17-year-old Estavio Willian, right? But young, talented Brazilian. But that's 50 million on a 17-year-old. Conor Gallagher was one of the big sticking points possibly on a coach leaving this team after having gotten them at
you don't
least.
have to convince me. You don't have
I
to
know.
convince me.
I'm just talking to
I,
I'm talking to
I know.
yeah, talk to the audience
But
too.
but you were
Like,
saying Burnley didn't do this, Burnley didn't do that. I know Burnley, of course Burnley did, and Chelsea didn't spend a billion last year. I know
okay,
Chelsea
but
win.
allow for me to continue to
Well,
gauge my
it's
point to the audience about why I believe that, and again, I'm speaking to the audience. Um, they were a hot dumpster fire in that you finally have a coach that is a viable coach in a market where there aren't really that many signature high-end, quality coaches left in the football arena. You finally have a name to go with all these high-priced, talented £100 million. They have multiple £100 million players on their team. Not many teams can even say that. Okay, but Chelsea can, and yet they continue to go further and further down. That the coach finally gets them out of that spiral, brings them back to some type of relevance. And what does Chelsea do? Thank you for your service. We're going to go another direction. That is crazy for a team that freaking admitted to breaking that the previous administration had broken FFP rules. The fact that they're giving these 9-year contracts to the point where like the league has to like address those sides. You're a hot dumpster fire, in my opinion. A hot dumpster fire. I get there are some teams out there that could easily be right next to you. They could live in your neighborhood basically and be your neighbors. But Chelsea, you have the biggest house on the block. And that's the reason why I had to give you the hot bin mess of awards. I had to. I'm sorry. But all the same. I did say that maybe this next category would bring some clarity as to um, why I would have said that, because I know that we do have some of our own picks as to who we think would be the um, actual candidate winner for that. So let's get to it then. Let's get to it. We will move on to the next category, which is the Here Today, Gone Tomorrow Award. And basically, this was going to be, you would think this would have been like a single team category, because yeah, there are Sheffield, like as he said, was absolutely horrible this year. Um, Sheffield United played poorly. Burnley played poorly. Luton played poorly. The category, or at least the candidates that I have for it, are obviously the relegated teams: Sheffield United, Burnley, Luton, Manchester City. What? Or at least I'm hoping that Manchester City ends up being on that list. But um, the reason why I gave it as a group participant, as I would like to have all three relegated teams come up, is because there is a unique quality about these three teams. And the unique quality about these three teams is that this is the first time in a long time that all three teams that had just been promoted got sent back down immediately. I know normally every time you see someone come up or see the promoted teams, most likely you pick them to be the ones that get relegated. But very rarely, not since 1997, 1998 season, has that happened. It's the first time since 1997, 1998 season that the three promoted teams went straight back down. So that is an accomplishment for them in a league, in a time when, as Brian mentioned earlier too, in a time and a place where your Forests and your Evertons were getting point deductions. So it wasn't like it wasn't an easy accomplishment for these teams to end up. They had their opportunities. They even had little handicaps being put onto the other teams. Your golf handicaps on some of these other teams to at least get them an opportunity to get out of that relegation zone, and they still managed to do it. It is incredible, though. I mean, Burnley is sad that they had a 101-point title win the year before, and then to be in the place that they're in, it's pretty poor. Blades, when it comes to Sheffield United, they had a record of 104 goals conceded this year. 104 goals conceded. That is horrible. That is horrible. It's actually the worst defensive record in English top flight history since 1963, 1964, which had the new team on the block for next year, Ipswich. Ipswich holds that record before them. Sheffield United has now said, yeah, we'll do you one better. So yeah, these were the winners. I think it's fitting. I didn't want to just choose and pick one out of the four there to be the Here Today, Gone Tomorrow award winners, because all three of them obviously are gone. But that's an incredible statistic, to say the least. Did you know that, by the way? Did you know it's been that long since 1997, 98?
You telling me?
Yeah.
What was the question? I've
Did you
gotten
know
lost.
it had been since 1997, 1998 that's the last time that all three promoted sides immediately got relegated?
No, I know that. I know it was the first time. I didn't know the date. No, but it's yeah.
That's
They don't normally. They
that's
don't normally go down.
it's a long time. It's a long time. 26 years, 25, 26 years. Um. So that's the reason why I did have those three at the as the winners for that. Um. I do have an actual fun award for us. The fun award that I have next is basically called the Apologist Award, the Dear John, the Dear John letter. I don't know if people know what the Dear John letter is, but it's the Apology Award. The Apology Award, I think, is a unique award because it is an award that um, some of these guys that are on this. Oh, I accidentally dropped that out. Hold on 1 second. I hit the wrong button here. A little technical difficulty. Let me bring up this again. This award, though, is basically this award is an award that goes to the actual referee, the referee that is most likely the referee that needs to be admonished the most. So let me bring this up for you guys. 1 second here. I accidentally closed the window. Let me pull this up here. I know the anticipation is incredible at this moment. Just hold on. Bring this up. Down and bring this to full screen. All right. All right, we're back, people. So this is the next award. Hopefully it's on the right one. Okay, so this is the Apology Award. Anthony Taylor, Paul Tierney, David Coote, and Simon Hooper. We would, which out of these four referees, who do you think was possibly the worst referee? Out of these four referees,
I couldn't pick any of them out of a lineup, man. You know me. I ignore all referee stuff. I don't know what you mean by worst. If you mean by most mistakes, most times they got dumped from a game, I wouldn't have any idea. I know Tierney is a ref. I didn't. I don't. Yeah. David Coote. I'll guess him. Because he sounds familiar. He was the guy they were all talking about earlier on. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not one of those guys. I'm not one of those people who say, "Oh, guess who's the referee for the weekend?" And someone puts in the name, and I was like, "Oh, not that guy." I'm like, "Why? What did he do?" I just, yeah, I remove it from my memory bank straight away. So, but David Coote had something to do with the Tottenham thing, didn't he? So maybe that.
he was the VAR referee. David
That's
Coote
what I
was the
remember.
VAR referee, I believe. Simon Hooper was the referee that was on the pitch for Spurs. Paul Tierney and Anthony Taylor have a long history with the club, and especially with Klopp. There's some, very notable exchanges between Klopp and those referees. But Bernie, you are correct. it has to be Anthony Taylor. I would even go as far as to say VAR and the PGMOL should be the winner of this category, to be honest with you. They all should be in the same boat, but I think rather than the winner, I guess we could call him the loser, is Anthony Taylor is the most Anthony Taylor had the most VAR corrected calls and also the most incorrect decisions made on the pitch. Anthony Taylor. I believe Anthony Taylor was even in the Euros, and he made a very controversial call apparently in one of the games, and they demoted him from the actual Euros. There's not many English referees that are refereeing in the Euros, for instance, and Anthony Taylor was one of them. And he said, "Hey, you know what? Let me show you what we do, how we do it in England," and got demoted from the competition. That's a very unique quality to say to say anything about a referee, to say that's what you have to say. It's not quality at all. It's not quality at all. I just, there's a lot of stuff that's going on with refereeing today in England. I'm hoping it gets better, but there were some poor calls. I mean, there's the call against Manchester United when Onana basically did a WWE move in trying to get a corner. There was obviously our incident with VAR where they absolutely dropped the ball. David Coote dropped the ball. There's just numerous calls that could be made for that one. And it was one that was pretty poor. Pretty poor. All right. Our next category is most yellows without a foul. These players are players that basically got out there and had a lot of fouls, but incredibly avoided picking up yellow cards. They were committed. They tried their best apparently, but they were able to avoid getting yellow card fouls. But it wasn't like they didn't do the work. These are the actual participants or candidates for this, and that is Thomas Kaminski from Luton Town, Leno from Fulham, Velez from Spurs, and Target from Newcastle. Target from Newcastle. Who do you think is going to win this category? Brian, do you have a huh?
Oh, no, it is. Kaminski. Probably the keeper, Leno. Kaminski's a keeper as well, isn't he?
Kaminski's yes, he is.
Keepers. Yeah, they don't get yellow. Yeah, go for keeper, Leno.
Leno? Yeah. Yeah. So this uniquely, these two players had a tie, and it was Leno, as you said, and Kaminski. You're correct by picking two goalkeepers. They both ended up both picked up only at the end of the year only having 3 yellow cards each without committing a single foul. So yeah, they picked up 3 yellows without getting a single foul. All 3 were for time wasting.
Yeah,
Yep.
time wasting.
Yep. And Leno's was for dissent, actually. The only 2 outfielders in this list, which were what Bernie guessed, was Target and Velez. They were the only outfielders to be cautioned without committing a foul. Both picked up a yellow card this year for time wasting. This early, I think this was more early on in the year too, but they were quicker with the time wasting in the beginning of the year, and then they kind of went away from that. They were. So I remember Trent got one in the Newcastle game, I think it was, which was I didn't understand why they were so quick to give it, and then they eased off of that rule going forward. Not very similar to when BBD got a red card, and they all of a sudden started to be very, very kind with the cards going forward, despite his call. Well, if we're going to talk about cards, let's go to Problem Childs then. That's what the next award is called, the Problem Child Award. This is basically for receiving, obviously, yellows or even reds. There is quite a few players that could most likely be put into this category. But I'll give you the list, and it's a very interesting list here. It could be, the candidates are Douglas Luiz for Villa, Nicholas Jackson for Chelsea, Caicedo for Chelsea once again, and Palhinha for Fulham. These are the candidates for this category, Problem Child. And we can just get to the winner, unless you want to take a crack at this one too. You want to take a crack at this one, Brian?
Is this like an opinion thing or a factual question? What's the question?
The question is basically who's gotten the most cards, basically. Yes, it's a little bit of opinion though too, because of the amount of play that the player takes on, the amount of minutes, starts, and time that they have on the pitch too.
No, but if it's just who has the most cards, is that the question?
It's okay. So Chelsea had 109 yellow cards this year. Had 109 cards this year. They had 105 yellows.
Yeah.
They had 4 reds. So It's obvious why Caicedo and Jackson, they're 2 of the top players that they got. But when it comes to actual minutes that they played, Nicholas Jackson is a special case because he has picked up 10 yellow cards this year. But those 10 yellow cards, out of those 10 yellow cards, only one of them was for a foul. So he has gone over and above when it comes to dissent, and certainly meaning problem child, meaning a pain in the butt on the pitch. Nicholas Jackson.
So is the question who has the most cards for things that weren't fouls?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the question?
No, the question is who is the problem child, as in who is getting cards, but not getting. It's equated to his fouls, minutes played, and if they're actual what the cards are associated with.
Yeah, that's the question. Yeah, that's what that. So was it for more than it's the guy that got the most cards for things that weren't fouls?
Right. Right.
Is that what you were asking?
Yes, that's what I was asking.
Oh, okay. So I think you've kind of given away the answer now.
Yeah, I already gave the answer. Right? The answer is Nicholas Jackson, but Caicedo was a close second, by the way, Bernie. He was a close second. But Casado had a lot of fouls, but he had a lot of yellow cards, but he had yellow cards associated with actual fouls. And he had a lot of fouls this year. But Nicholas Jackson is just a problem child in the sense of he goes all in on getting in the face of referees and making his opinion known, even when it's not asked for. So Nicholas Jackson is that guy. Definitely that guy. He is a problem child. He is a certain problem child. This next award is for most shots without a goal. Yes. Most shots without a goal. No, this next one is not most shots without a goal. I'm sorry. This next one is the worst VAR complainers. Like, guys, this year we had a bunch of teams that kind of got put out there as being not happy with the league, or whether it was with the refereeing, or whether it was with the actual league itself, or whether it was with both. You had Everton kind of mad at the league a little bit, but then they ended up taking their medicine. You had Forest vehemently going out of their way to say that they weren't happy with the league and with VAR in general. You also had Arsenal. At one point, you had Arteta out there basically telling the audience, or telling people in interviews, Arteta going as far as saying he sympathizes with the refs. It's a hard job to do. Blah blah blah. We gotta understand what they're getting into and what they're dealing with. And then when the cards were on the other side of the deck for him, he comes out complaining about the referees, and I was doing a 180 basically. And you also have Crystal Palace. You had Roy saying a lot of like disparaging words against the league and against those that make up the league, and the refereeing weren't good enough in his opinion. So this is the worst VAR complainers, basically. That is what this award is for. And I'll show you the categories candidates again. Who do you think had the worst of this year for worst VAR complainers? Who do you think was? Did you put us? I know that they could have put us in that category too. By the way, I just didn't want to.
But obviously, I think ours
are warranted.
But obviously, I have to pick from this list, right? I'm not allowed my own.
You say your.
Well, I tried that with Burnley, and I got shot down. So
yeah.
To me, worst VAR complainers would be Liverpool fans, because we didn't shut up about it all year. And I hate anybody that complains about it. Nah, look, to me, yeah, Liverpool fans, and but to me, no, Nottingham Forest, because basically Forest kind of oh, sorry, no, Christ, what am I talking about? No, they sued him for the other things. Look, I have to give it to Wolves.
Yeah,
Wolves,
I would stick with it.
No,
the Wolves.
Forest were complaining about something. Yeah, because like it's basically like it's just a really bad look. Oh no, they're not on that list. But like when you sign up to something and like 3/4 of the way through it, you start
Wolves could have been on this list too. You're right. Wolves could have been on the list. Yeah,
it's kind of
they actually sued VAR. Yeah,
you see, this is what I'm trying to say. When you sign up to something and you like it's fine. Like if you complain afterwards or complain before, but 3/4 of the way through trying to fucking change all the rules because you've had what you consider to be yeah, look, they have bad decisions, but you'll never I've never met. You will never meet a group of fans. Look, yeah, anybody can point something somebody said on the internet once, okay, but you will never meet a group of fans who every season say, "Oh yeah, we get all the decisions. Oh, they all yeah, it's great. We always get the decisions every week. They always go our way. It's brilliant." Every single group of fans, every single club will tell you that every single week decisions go against them. That's just football fandom. But but for a club like Wolves, the actual entity itself to turn around and start suing or trying to sue or trying to change the
Exactly.
rules, like you
Yeah.
signed up for it. You
Yeah.
like fans are allowed to be crazy and mental and assume that there's people up in the sky controlling everything and scripting games and all this crazy shit. Let them do that. But the actual owners of the club to try and do this for, I think maybe a bit of publicity. I don't know what they were trying to get at with it because it was always doomed to fail. It's but you signed up for it. Like I say, to do it in the middle, it's like it's just a bad look. And it's the
Yeah.
same with It was like with Forest. Like Forest tried to started giving out about the rules once they
Yeah.
realized that the rules they'd signed up for were going to come and bite him, and they say, "Oh, this is unfair. We should do something about this." It's like no, like maybe things can change, but right now, like no, it's like you were about to get like taken to jail or get processed for a DUI, and now it's like we need to change the rules on drinking and driving. Well, yeah, well, you would say that right now, wouldn't you? It's like,
Yeah. You would
but you
say that right
signed like
now. Right.
you agreed to the
Exactly.
rules when you got in your car, when you bought your car. Now you want to change them. It's not a good look. Do
No, it's not. It's
that to
not.
me is petty, petty, crappy. Like what City are doing with the
With
rules there.
with the
It's
suing
petty
the
and
league. Yeah.
pointless. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just to create noise and it's just to say in a really expensive and public way, look how pissed off we are. So people, I don't know, will give them sympathy or something. I don't know. I don't know. It's like a child having a tantrum. It- It's how I see that kind of stuff. It's just
Yeah. I will admit that there's definitely there was only 4 slots. I wasn't going to throw us under the bus, so we could have certainly been on that list. But I think our reasons for being on that list were we had the most apologies that were actually given to us by the
is there a
PGMOL.
room for that? Do we now have a room for that? I know we've got a trophy room. Do we now have a PGMOL apology room with a cabinet and all these
Hey, I would I
serious
would I
ones?
would put that in a framed framed little glass frame, put it up there just saying how, like, look, this is what it is, because it's pathetic that the the difference is for this year could have been made by some of those mistakes. Those mistakes did
Well,
cost us.
you're
Um,
talking about a dumpster fire. I think that's what Klopp would have been having when he was leaving. Is to throw, they can go in the bin and burn them.
yeah,
Yeah,
those could have been in there.
they
Yeah,
were all up. I think all that stuff was one of the reasons, or I think there was. I kind of did about. We did something similar to this before, and I think I had like 7 reasons why I thought Klopp left. Uh,
mm-hmm.
and I thought it was not any one thing. I just thought it was an accumulation of a lot of things, and yeah, I know I don't go down the blame refs route, but the whole yeah VAR, or PGMOL refs bullshit was definitely one
Yeah,
of the reasons where he's just like, yeah, I need a break from this shit. I need just the constant kind of battling back and
well,
forth with these guys and seeing matches being
well,
decided on things. And, I think that was one of probably, I think overplaying a player is like too many games. Um, the time he's been here,
yeah,
the stress and the refs and having to deal with all of that kind of stuff. I think that all of those things was a big accumulation on Klopp. It's not like the Euros have been okay. There haven't been too many crazy decisions. There have been some dodgy ones like that one you were talking about. There was another guy, I don't know, I'm assuming he's been sent home as well. Made a
Mm-hmm.
terrible error on a penalty or something like that. Or
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah, a really bad one. But yeah, they're kind of okay. But
I
yeah,
thought
I
wasn't
think
that Anthony Taylor? Wasn't that, I think that was Anthony Taylor.
no, there was him, but there was another foreign ref
Oh,
who
there's
was
another
making
one
the
too.
play.
Okay.
Yeah, he was. I heard his name and I'd never heard him, but it was
Oh,
a
okay.
foreign, some Russian or something like that. But yeah, I think Klopp had really by the end of it, he was just like, I'm sick of these guys.
Yeah.
These, these PJ, these refs, these linesmen. Like you're
Yeah.
saying, there's a long list of stuff against us. That's you can
But that
you
was
if you
but
think
it's
you
different.
remember him,
It's
Klopp
different.
remembers
Yeah.
every minute of them. Klopp remembers all these things.
Yeah.
Every time he sees like, oh, this guy,
Yeah. It was different.
again, this guy.
Yeah.
He was the guy that did this. He's the guy that did that.
Yeah. Yeah. All the list of those referees all had a part in something that was shady against us actually this year. Whether it was like getting the elbow to Robbo's face, to obviously to the Spurs fiasco, to there's a lot of different things this year that made you say what the heck's going on. But the winner of this one was who you said, Forest. Easily Forest this year. Look, I think the worst thing they could have done was bring in Mark Clattenburg as whatever appointment they appointed him to, is like some like game refereeing. He just basically analyzes the games and the refereeing for the games for them. And the part and point of, look, we get it. You already got points deducted for the PSR infractions. That's not VAR. I get that. But what was worse about it is that because you were so pressed by your financial, inaccuracies, you then went out to go as far as to say the game against Luton, where you guys had that 1-1 quote unquote controversial draw. You went out to go and say 3 penalties not given. This is quote, which we simply cannot accept. That is a really, really bold statement. And then you go as far as to say on your the club's official Twitter Twitter handle, you go, we warned the PGMOL that the VAR is a Luton fan before the game, but they didn't change him. Our patience has been tested multiple times, and FC will now consider its options. That sounds like some bitter stuff. I'm sure people will push back and say, "Well, didn't Liverpool do something somewhat similar by getting wanting to test the legal matters with the Spurs match?" Yeah, that's because they effed up. They really messed up and they came out and admitted it. But these guys are going as far as to say, hey, there is a rat in this game and we don't like it. And we told you 3 times to get him off and you didn't. That's bold. That's very bold. And let's not even go with what they did against us. I mean, you heard about the things that they did against the little picture I have is the one that Darwin Nunez got the game winning header against Forest, and they complained about that game because of it was because of the earlier progression earlier in the there. It was something about what had happened on the other side of the pitch actually. So it was pretty bad. I'm trying to see what it did. I don't know if maybe maybe in his opinion, I finally got one right on the picks. Maybe. But yeah, that was a bad. Those are bad times for Forrest. Forrest remains in the league, but still, those are some bad calls from Forrest. That's why I think that they're the worst VAR complainers out of all of us. We all had a reason to complain about VAR. They definitely were bad. This next is most shots without a goal. This is an interesting category because again, I'm sure you probably think Darwin's on this list, but he's not. Let me tell you that. Because there was some people on here that never found the back of the net, but they took their cracks at getting it. And that was Brighton's Julio Cesar Isesco, Brighton's Billy Gilmore, Bournemouth's Ryan Christie, and Manchester City's Ruben Diaz is on this list. Surprisingly, but he is on this list. These nominees are all special in their own right, but the winner is. Do you have a guess, Brian? I'm going to give you a guess on these kinds of ones to see if you know. This is obviously just an actual like shots scored style. Do you have a guess on this?
I need clarity. So this is the most shots without a goal in a game in
the campaign in the whole year.
So none of these players scored.
Some of them scored.
Okay, so then it starts at 0. Then, so
it's the biggest from 0 to what it could be 0 to 100, or it could be you scored twice, but you had scored. You scored twice, but you shot 200 times, even though.
So the biggest amount of shots between goals. Okay, so it does right.
No, Joey G. I know. Yeah, Jimmy. That's funny. Big up, Jimmy. Big up to Merseyside Red, by the way, too.
Brighton guy. Well, not Billy Gilmore. I mean, and see, so the tricky number 10 guy. I'll go with him. I don't know.
Okay, going with Billy Gilmore, or going with Julio. There's two Brightons.
Yeah, sorry, my mic must be low. I said I'll go with the Brighton guy, but obviously not Billy Gilmore. I'll go with the Julio guy. So
okay.
Who's that other guy? Ryan Christie? No, not Ryan Christie. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Okay.
Tricky number 10.
Yeah, Diaz was I thought people would maybe go with Diaz since you probably didn't expect him to be in this list, but he did have a bunch of shots and very limited goals scored from them. But the winner was Ryan Christie. Ryan Christie took 43 shots this year. That's 15. He took 15 shots more than any other goalless player. And Bournemouth did him well, I guess, because Bournemouth was not good from distance. They weren't good from close in either. He had 43 efforts, but his shots only amounted to 2.3 xG. But he had one chance that he almost scored. It was in the 94th minute against Chelsea, and unfortunately, Conor Gallagher got in front of it and blocked it. It was going to be a sure goal, but he didn't get it. So this award goes to Ryan Christie, who he's shooting but not scoring. And and Joey G.
How many goals did Ruben Diaz score this season?
1 second. I can pull that up for you. I thought I had that in my notes, but I don't. Ruben Diaz. 30 shots. He had 30 shots and 1 goal. He had 1 goal.
One. Yeah, I was just wondering how many he scored. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's between goals. Obviously, it's between like he could have, like Christie could have scored 7 goals this season, but then had 500 shots between his 7th and his 8th goal, or his 6th and his 7th goal. So I just thought at the start, I thought like this was a list of players who none of them had scored a goal this season, but which one of them had the most shots.
That's right. Well, he had 15 shots more than any other goalless player. Right. Diaz had 1 goal. The other guys on the list didn't have any goals.
But it's
the other 2 guys had no goals.
No, but it's not a list of players who haven't scored. It's a list of. That's all I'm asking. I'm just saying, yeah, that's at the start. I just thought this was a list of players who hadn't scored. Which one of them had the most shots? I did, yeah. Now it makes, yeah. Now it's, yeah. So it's who went the most shots between goals. So he was. Yeah, I wouldn't have picked him at all. Christie. Yeah, I wouldn't have picked him at all. Probably would have had him last. I would have thought he didn't even play for Bournemouth that much.
Yeah, but he got some cracks in there. This is the last award here. This is basically a job security award for the worst manager of the year, basically. And the candidates for this are Forest's Steve Cooper, Chris Wilder for Sheffield United, Paul Heckenbaum for Sheffield United again, and Roy Hodgson for Crystal Palace.
Don't know who he is.
Don't know who he is. Yeah.
Roy Hodgson. Never heard of him.
Yeah.
I know who Roy Hodgson is. Never heard of Roy Hodgson. Poor Roy. After all this time, he's been around 80 years and people are still getting his name wrong. Poor Roy. It's no wonder he's tired.
Poor guy.
Can you imagine being a manager in the Premier League at nearly 80 years of age? Why would you be doing that?
It's a good question.
Surely you've made enough. You know, you must really not like your wife. I'm no offense to Mrs. Hodgson, but he really must not like spending time at home. Yeah, no, I'd rather manage Crystal Palace.
Yeah. He managed them to getting very close to struggling to hold on to the league or hold on to a place in the league. Definitely had some nice little losing streaks. It was a pretty bad year for all of these coaches. And only three coaches actually saw, only 3 Premier League managers faced the axe this year or went down, got sacked. And that's a record, actually, or not a record, excuse me. That is actually a drastic fall off from the record that was set in 2022, 2023, which was 13 managers got sacked in 2022, 2023. It was not a good place to be. It was not a good job to have in being a manager in the league, because a lot of times you probably were going to not have a job at the end of the day. So big difference. Heckenbottom was the first to go in December. He got Sheffield United up, obviously, to the league, to the Prem, but then proceeded to just drop the bag in essence. Let me make sure you guys see the categories or see the candidates again. And then you had Chris Wilder, who didn't really do that big of an improvement, to be honest with you. He Heckenbottom was getting 0.36 points per game. Chris Wilder, 0.46. So it wasn't like Chris Wilder was doing something to write home about. And on top of that, you know what? I don't like Chris Wilder anyway, especially for his treatment that he gave to Klopp and his the way that he was kind of a pain in the butt with us. But Steve Cooper was fired by Forest a couple of weeks after Heckenbottom's exit. He was at the time, Forest was in 17th place, right? But they were outside of the relegation zone. Santo could have been Nuno Espirito Santo or Nuno, excuse me, could have been in this list as well. He didn't do that great of a job. I mean, obviously, he was the coach before, but what Steve Cooper did was really, really poor in numbers wise when in comparison, even to Nuno, which is not saying much. But Cooper's points per game were 0.82. Nuno's was 1.05. So he was at least doing a little bit better. And that's why Nuno stayed off this list. But Roy, different story. Roy, if you look at in comparison to what his replacement, Oliver Glasner, did, it is a pretty considerable difference when it comes to these coaches. I made this point about how they're losing Elise, and Eze is now on possibly another name that they're considering let go. I don't think that they are going to let go of two of their biggest names on their player sheet, but it could happen. I mean, money talks sometimes. So 6 of Glasner's 7 wins came when both of those players were on the pitch, which isn't too rare. It's not too rare of a point to bring out. I think it's important to bring that out. And because it showed some stability and they won games. Obviously, they beat us at Anfield. Yeah, 2 of their best players by far for the season.
Well, their 2 best players are on the pitch. That's when they perform best. You don't need to be a stats. You don't need to be a stats genius. You know. In fairness to Roy, they sacked him when he was about 76, and they were like, "Thanks, Roy. You know, you did all you can. We're going to go in the new, younger direction." I think they finished 12th. They brought in Patrick Vieira. They finished 12th. Everybody was talking about how good Vieira was. You know, how much better they were. Oh, he's done such a better job. They finished in 12th, same position. I think it's pretty much the same goals scored, everything. And then it started not working out very well. And then they brought Roy back in.
Right.
So now they've done what now they appear to, you know, the guy's only there 5 minutes. But it's kind of like, yeah, thanks, Roy, for coming back in and, you know, looking after the place for a while. Unfortunately, we've had to sack you, you know, to make it happen. But we can't be getting relegated here. So Glasner is coming in, and it looks like they've gotten it right now with Glasner. I don't really put a huge amount of blame on Hodgson for this one. Like I say, the guy's literally about 80 years old. He's not going to be an elite manager. You know, everyone's like, "What are you hiring Roy again for? Like, what are you up to?" Is that what you're doing? Like you've sacked Roy Hodgson. Say we're moving into the future now with Vieira. Okay, it doesn't work out with Vieira. Okay, fine. But you're sacking and you're bringing back Roy Hodgson. That was like those fans were like, what kind of what is this? Some kind of a joke? But they seem to have got it right now with this guy Glasner. And
Mhm.
hey, look, maybe nobody wants to see it, but you get what did they get? 60 for Elise? If someone puts down this, I'd imagine probably the same number was what it would take for Eze. Well, you've got a good manager there, a good team behind him. If you trust him, that's a lot of money to completely rebuild the Palace squad. You know, they're already looking at people today for Elise. I've seen that. You know, like what we did, like they can do a. If you have the right people spending that money, not idiots, then 120 to a team like Palace, that could bring in the next Eze easily. So yeah, I'd I'd be I'd worry for them as fans because they're going to lose all their favorite best players. Yeah, Elise's already gone. Eze ain't staying no more than 12 months. You know, your man Mark Gahey, he's someone people want as well. But geez, even just there, that's probably about 250. No, it's not 60. It's 150 maybe in players.
Mhm.
That's great. Like that's brilliant for them. They spend it well. Cool. You know, if City or something like that, Eze gets a huge, offer in front of him, they're not going to say to the kid, no, 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 you can't go there. You have to stay here. I can't see it, but I like the manager.
Well, I think that Roy does deserve a lot of the blame, primarily because he didn't have to take the job. He'd already been sacked from this job. I think that Roy, and obviously Roy is our winner, but I'll bring it up for. Um, but the reasons why I did give it to Roy was because one, uh, Vieira Vieira sacking was questionable at best. I think that Crystal Palace, yes, was on a losing streak or was starting to flutter a little bit. They were certainly not looking as strong as they had been at points in the season because Vieira had gotten some praise as to what of a decent job he had been doing at Palace. He had already just taken over for Roy already, and Roy came into the Palace job and won up, and Palace took on possibly some of the worst competition that they've been. Like the part of the season I think they took over wasn't exactly. I think even Vieira would have won those games or done decent in those games. It didn't really.
Uh,
It wasn't Roy's, expertise that made the difference in those games. But he
but
still
he,
got praise. He still got the praise, and he still got the vote of confidence by the board to continue on. He went into the next year, and again they did not look good at, for the majority of the year, and he wasn't. He's not. He's not that great a great coach. Period. But then for you to say as a club, okay, you're our coach. We're going to fire you. We're going to do very similar to what Chelsea did with Lampard. We're going to fire you. We're going to bring in another coach. We're going to allow for him to do well, have a little patch of doing poorly, fire him, bring back the coach that was doing poorly before, to then bring him in and expect, hey, let's go into the new year with you as our coach. That was poor man. That was poor decision making in Crystal Palace's. In my opinion, on Crystal Palace, I think it was
oh
poor
yeah,
decision
a
making.
lot of it's on the club, I think. Like if you were to ask me again, like if I could go off script, if you're at my personal choice for worst manager of the year, mm, yeah,
I mean, all these guys are bad managers. They were all bad managers. And I always thought that Nuno was a decent manager. By the way, I liked what he did at Wolves, but I mean, like, I thought he was a decent manager. I thought he was gonna. I didn't think he was gonna do too poorly when he went to Spurs. But
yeah, I'd have two others. I'd have probably similar, but I'd have Company and Ten Hag in there with two of the others. And I mean, Cooper gets sacked, so Wilder was like that. Like I said, that Sheffield United, yeah, the two of them, they're both already can't. They were
pretty bad.
Yeah, like no, they weren't pretty bad. They were weak. Like they weren't that far off. Coming back, like they were really, really poor example of what to do when you come up. They pretty much gave up without a fight from day one. They really had zero ambition. It was really, really weak from them. So both of those boys should be in there. So, but I'd have probably Ten Hag in there as well.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. The only reason why I didn't put Ten Hag in there is because he got a trophy. He did get.
No, I just mean if I was doing my 5,
I get that. I'm just saying that I can understand. I can see.
You don't have to justify it. No, you don't have to justify it. No, that's you've done yours.
I can see it. I can see it.
That's yours. But it's just. But like I said earlier on, we're kind of a bit desensitized to how bad they are. Like I can't really still, even though how bad I just said that, I still can't wrap my head around how a player or a manager can end the season with them in the league position that they're in and keep his job. Like, it's not that long ago where if you weren't challenging for the league title with them, you were gone. Now it's like, oh no, it's like, no, cool, but we got Europa League. It's progress. It's like, wow, how quickly things change,
Yeah.
Pochettino, again, I think he's been unlucky there. So I think Chelsea made an awful call on that. But you got a guy like that out there. Yeah, there's some, like the.
Yeah, you could maybe could have put Poch. Poch turned it around towards the end of the season, but
I
could put Poch in there considering the amount of talent
I wouldn't
going there. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't put him in so much. Like he is literally working in a dumpster fire.
Yeah,
Like that whole.
Yeah. Well, that's why they got the Hot Bin Award. So yeah.
Yeah, so it's why, if of his, those clubs, there's pretty much anybody goes in there, so it's hard to call a manager in a scenario like that. But these unstable smaller clubs, again. But I think the guys at Sheffield United definitely. Their job is to at least put on make a big show, be really hard to beat, and be Sheffield United basically. But they just came where it's just like, they're embarrassing. I thought pretty embarrassing.
Agreed. Absolutely agree. I thought it was a good list of candidates. I think some good. In my opinion, obviously. I made the selections, so they're, in my opinion, viable selections. But I know that there are those out there that were thinking there's always candidates that just don't win the award that are certainly comparable candidates to do so. I could tell you some comparable candidates. Let's bring up. I have this to bring up. Let's bring up our Euros challenge.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Let's bring
is Darrow gone? Darrow was there.
Sorry. This is the Euros challenge. I'm gonna make sure we have it set up here. So, Brian, you want to take this over since you're our leader of the 12th Man Euros challenge? And Brian's actually doing well, by the way, in like overall, like as in the world.
Am I?
Yeah.
I did. Uh, yeah, well, we're at the cutoff point. Some teams have gone home. We know who's in the last 16, so it's a kind of a genuine kind of middle point in the tournament. And what we've got, yeah, we've got six in the league. I know it's not the biggest league, but yeah. So at the moment, yeah, pretty much. Look, yeah, I'm top of the league, which is fine. It's down to a bit of good luck. It's all down to getting the picks at the end of the day, getting the lucky ones. But 12 man was doing very badly, and now he's second. So that can all change pretty quick. 144. Daryl's boys in third. Daryl, you were bullish, you were confident, but
Mhm.
tied on points, tied on points. JK 143. So we've got like
There's a race. There's a race for second,
I think
certainly.
there's a race for the whole thing. With this many games left, I'm less than 40 points ahead, so that's easily changed easily.
Yeah, a good day, good
Bonkers.
night.
Oh yeah, definitely a good captain call and a good day, and that changes very very quickly. I think
Yeah,
I'm looking at it going. I'm on 182. I'm on 181. I would say three. I'm going to say something around like 330 wins this league. You're going to have to probably get about 330 points. I reckon we'll win this. Uh, Bonkers still, yeah, definitely with a shout. Daz a little bit off it on 96, but again, you never know.
you never
Um,
know.
but yeah, look, a good captain. I know everyone out there knows the game, so like at the moment, you have unlimited transfers, or not unlimited transfers. No, you do have unlimited transfers because it's in between match days and people have been knocked out. So, and your budget has increased by 5 million.
Still
So
got to
you
figure
can,
out the wild card thing. I'm still got to figure that out.
well, you have if you haven't played your limitless chip or your wild card chip at the moment, basically you don't really need to play either of them. You can just because you have unlimited transfers for
Hmm.
this round.
Hmm.
You don't need to use either of your chips, and then so you can pick all your players for this round. Then in the next round, a a limitless chip, if you haven't played that, means you can basically make unlimited transfers that day. But
Mm.
after that game day, your team will revert back to the team that it was before you played your limitless chip. So then you will have to change your team again. So if you're going to play, if you have both those chips left, you need to keep the limitless. Play that first.
Mm.
Um, but you don't need to play it now because this week is basically a
This is
free hit anyway.
yeah, it's unlimited.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can do it anyway. So you can keep
gotcha.
your limitless for the next round. So that means you can basically pick all the players you want for the quarterfinal round.
Hmm.
Um, and then that would revert back to the team that you have today. But then if you have your wild card, which is basically means you can build a new team without any um, points deductions. So that would carry you through to the semi-final. So yeah, if you have both your chips left, you can build a new team for the next three, which would be last 16 quarters and semis, and then you'd only have the final left.
Hmm.
So if that doesn't probably make sense, but yeah, you can change your team all the time. But if you've spent that chip, the limitless chip, which I spent last week, I used that. So, but now I can change my team for free basically this week. That means I only have a wild card left, which means I have to use the transfers that you get in the game. But as the rounds go on, you get more transfers every game week. It goes from two to three to five. That you can. So you should be able to basically always have a really strong team. But
Hmm.
yeah, all that boring FPL shit over. I'm winning. You're second. Daryl's third.
No,
JK's fourth. Bonkers is
yeah,
fifth. Daz is sixth, but there's only 10 points. There's only 8 points between fifth and second. So all to play for.
All to play for. Still a lot to play for. A lot to play for. Yeah, we have a bunch of no Euros today, obviously, since the competition is in that transition period. Again, we have the USA game that's going to be starting in a little bit close to an hour and 15 minutes away from kickoff for the USA game. Oh, big up, big up, big up.
Oh, hi, Nicola. Nicola Dimkovic. Nicola Dimkovic. Welcome to the chat.
Yeah,
Great to
big
see
up.
some new names. That's cool.
Yeah. Big up. Yeah, Serbia. Tough.
Good team. A good
team
Serbia.
though. Good team. Serbia was a really good team. I think wasn't Serbia in the group that wasn't Serbia also in the group that had all the teams had 4 points, I think, or something like that, right? Was that the group? You don't know, probably off the top of your head.
No.
Let me see. I'll double check here. Double check. I'm trying to get to it. I'm in the Copa stats. But Serbia did well though. Serbia did decent. Let's see. Okay, Serbia, Romania.
They were in England's group with Denmark and Slovenia, and they finished with 2 points.
Okay.
They
that was Slovakia. I was thinking of that. Slovakia was in the group of 4 with all 4 points. It was like Romania, Belgium, Slovakia, Ukraine was all 4 points. But yeah, that was a tough group though. The England group was tough for Serbia to get a result in.
Well, they got 2 draws. They lost the game and they got 2 draws. Denmark and Slovenia got 3 draws, and England got 2 draws and win, which obviously was against Serbia.
Right.
So in that entire group, only 1 game was won.
Yeah.
England beat Serbia.
The England game, and they only won that 1-0.
Yeah, so they beat Serbia. Every other game was a draw.
Yeah, and they played well in that game too. Towards they had moments where like they could have tied it up in that game against England. It's not like they got completely outplayed from start to finish. Really good goal by Jude in that game. Really well taken header. And other than that, it was, you pick them almost. But it's all good. There's always next year. That's how I see it, right? The plus though, Serbia probably will make the World Cup, don't you think?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Would they make the World Cup in what's it, in 2 years' time? Yeah, so they must have a whole qualifying group to go. I'm not sure what their group is like for qualifying, but the next World Cup basically has about 700 teams in it. So if they're good enough to make the Euros,
yeah, that's why I would think that they would be able to possibly make the World Cup.
It just depends what group they got. Really, a lot of it does come down to who you get in your group, because if over the course of a couple of years of qualifying, a team like you can end up in a group where say Netherlands are having a bad time, and you can end up in a group with France being top seed and Netherlands being second seed.
This year that Europe gets an extra gets an extra position, an extra team as well
In what
in the World Cup.
in the World Cup, I don't know.
Mhm.
The stuff that goes on with that, the shenanigans that go on there is crazy.
Mhm.
But I think, yeah, Serbia, as long as they don't get put in they don't get drawn basically a qualifying group of death. The
Mhm.
qualifying groups now are spread out so thinly now that basically it's written from the start. It's like, well, that's the best team, that's the second best team, and that's the third best team. But sometimes
Mhm.
because teams underperform, they drop down the rankings, and you'll end up with a group with Belgium, France, and Portugal in it in a qualifying group. And it's like, oh
Mhm.
crap. So like the random like a lot of times with Ireland, we'd end up in a group go, okay, well we've got a shot at getting second and qualifying from this because there's
Mhm.
only one big team in it. There's basically a France or a Spain, and then there's the other three, and we can
Mhm.
all win. But
Mhm.
sometimes because someone drops into rankings, you end up in a group. It's like, oh crap, now Portugal and France are in it. We're not getting past them. And then what happened to Ireland was we dropped into rankings, so then we became the third pot group. So there was double the chance of so there was always going to be so it can get difficult that way. But Serbia, that's the thing. In 2 years' time, your playing pool could be very different. You can have some guy that's he's okay now, he's good. In 2 years' time, he could be 60 minute quid going to Man City,
Yeah.
striker banging in goals like this
Yeah.
Sesko guy at Slovenia, Benjamin Sesko. Like in a couple of years' time, they could come back with him and he's gone to Barcelona for 100 million quid.
Mhm. Yeah. They get Europe will get 3 more slots in the expanded 2026 World Cup. By the way.
Everyone
Um,
gets it. It's basically everyone. Just show up and you can play. Everyone plays in the World Cup. There's 450 teams. Just you could even hold it in Jamaica.
yeah. Now if you keep adding all these teams, man. Now you keep
That's
adding all
big
these
enough.
teams.
I'm sure it's big enough, man. I'm sure it's big enough.
Uh,
Play a few games on the beach, maybe. I don't know.
that would be awesome. By the way, that would be awesome. World Cup. World Cup of beach soccer or beach football would be awesome. Beach
I
football is
could
a lot of
never.
fun.
I could never do it when I don't know, like kicking. Yeah, I never like playing football on the beach.
No.
No,
Okay. Okay. Your beaches are a little bit different than some of the beaches of
well,
Brazil.
sand is sand, sand is sand. No, I
I
never
don't
like.
know.
We used
Sand isn't sand. There's some sand
no
that is.
sand is no. I just mean I never like because I didn't like kicking. I hated kicking the ball when it was covered in sand because if you did it wrong, you cut the shit out of your foot. So
Oh
unless you
yeah,
were
yeah, yeah,
really,
yeah,
really good,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, we have the right. We beaches here like that are perfect for pristine like tennis courts,
Hmm.
flat.
Hmm.
We have all the right beaches for it. But I'm a
Yeah.
wimp. I was a wimpy little kid, and I didn't like kicking the ball when it had sand on it because it used to cut my foot when I did it wrong, and I wasn't very good at football when I was 8, and I used to hurt myself. So yeah, that's why I don't like playing beach football, basically,
Hmm.
because I'm a wimp.
Is this the
Yeah,
first time?
great tune, Bernie. Great tune, great tune. Well,
Treasure
yeah.
Farmer. Yeah. Um.
I quit. No, I said great tune there a bit quick actually. It's a yeah, it's obviously yes, but it's a good song. It's a bit questionable, but it's a good song.
Well. Yeah. That's. So I don't know. I think with the 3 slots, Serbia has a real good shot at making it into the World Cup. Or at least has a better shot. Obviously, I mean, it's opportunities that wouldn't have been there from before. Um, and I was
They got
surprised too
they
that
made the last one.
this is the first time since Germany's been unified, that they've gotten to host the Euros. I did not know that. That's a pretty interesting stat. First time
Yeah,
Germany
this
has
goes around in
staged a UEFA European Championship since reunification. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, they get the World Cup and it goes around. Because when you think about it, it's every 4 years.
Yeah.
So you're probably like out of four. There's going to be three people. So like you're going to be probably four. Like you'll get your turn, then you're going to have to wait at least three turns to get again because there'll be Spain and Portugal, there'll be France, Italy,
A lot of
England.
countries, yeah, that could host it. Yeah.
So before you know it, it's 20 years before you've hosted a tournament.
Yeah.
So then if you
That's
get
why
a
you get
World
the
Cup,
opportunity to make the most of it. Yeah.
I don't want to be weird, but I think basically all European championships should be held in like what they kind of did the last time. Um, Germany, some combination of Germany, France, and Italy or Austria or something like that, because
Mm-hmm.
it's the European Championships. It's in Central Europe. They've all got really good stadiums, especially the Germans and French. Obviously the England people, but just it's right in the middle of Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Just host it there. Like it's not going much further, but then you have to give Spain and Portugal. But it doesn't take much to host the Euros now because all the big European countries are big. They have big stadiums. They don't have to
Mm-hmm.
build new stadiums. Like the last time someone built a stadium for the Euros is a long time ago. Like nobody builds stadiums for European championships. They don't need to. The infrastructure is there in Germany. Apparently the trains are terrible. I've been watching some vlogs. Apparently the transport system in Germany in terms of trains getting to and from games is absolutely abysmal, which it was news to me. I know in Switzerland they make everything run on time, but apparently not in Germany so much. But yeah, it's good. You don't need to build all these new stadiums. The stadiums are there. You know,
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah. That's true.
fan football type culture is there. You have
Yeah.
areas around stadiums that are used to dealing with fans every week. So give the English one every 20 years or something
Mm-hmm.
because the stadiums are there as well. Easily host one in England. They've done it, recently, 96. But
Yeah. Well, tomorrow we'll be doing uh tomorrow is finally tomorrow finally Friday?
yeah, it's Mars Friday, yeah.
Yeah, I'm picking up on which day it is. Finally Friday is tomorrow. And we'll have some, we'll go into some rumor updates. We'll probably review the game on how Darwin did in his matchup against who did I say, Bolivia. And we'll also I might even do a little shout here or there for our matchup as well. USA's matchup, that is.
We'll give them what they want. We'll give you people what you want. An hour of transfer nonsense. What about
Yeah,
that?
yeah. It's what the people want. This is what they ask for. What is asked for in my Twitter feeds and the DMs. But yeah, we're gonna see. We'll see how we do today against Panama. And again, that game's on in an hour, and we'll see how Uruguay and Darwin Nunez does against Bolivia. Whether he can keep his scoring streak going, and hopefully maybe get a hat trick today, Darwin. Why not do that? Get a hat trick. So yeah, before we let the people go on, what would you like to say to the people before they go on to their final destinations today?
Just take care of yourselves and each other
That's good words.
and enjoy the night.
Yes, that's noble and very very noble words. I would say similar. Be sure to take care of yourselves. Be sure to try to get some type of professional help if necessary. because it is important that you continue this walk with us. We enjoy every moment with our Reds, as always. I would also like to say that if you can, please do share this with your friends. Bring them into the fold, bring them into the conversation, have a laugh, have a chuckle with some of the comments or some of the takes that we all have. Whether it's you going against what I have to say, or going against what Brian has to say, or going against what's being discussed as the topic at hand. Hey, it's what it is for. It's what we have this channel for, which is to present a forum so we can all talk freely and openly, and we have our opinions, and we can also, validate them with facts as well, which always helps. You know how I love my stats. And but there's one thing I love more, and that is the fact that I have my Reds with me today. So big up to Cedric, big up to Bernie, big up to
Jimmy.
big up to Jimmy, big up to Nick as well. Big up to Marion. Who else was in the house today? Big up to Philip was here. Richard was here as well. Honesty, Lee. Think of anyone. Did I miss anyone? Did I miss anyone by any chance?
Cedric.
Yeah.
All the people that Marion was. It was ladies' night for a while.
Yeah, which was really cool.
It was just cool.
Hey, I'm not. Yeah, I wasn't complaining.
So
So
we rolled out the red carpet. We put on awards night, and the ladies showed up before the men as usual. So
as usual, on time. I like it. But yeah, we'll be back finally Fridays tomorrow. But again, we'll have a couple blurbs about some of the rumors that are being circulated. We'll also go into topics that you want to talk about. Obviously it's finally Friday, so you get to we get to bring you in and figure out what is on your mind exactly. And again, this has been a fun show. Thank you for joining us today. And if anything, I would say, and that is, up the Reds, people. Up the Reds. We'll see you guys tomorrow.